Yeah, it's ugly, alright. It was ugly when it was new, and actually I think it's a bit prettier now. It's got all the scars on it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, then welcome to the channel. Today we are looking at this ugly thing. Yeah, it's ugly, alright. It was ugly when it was new, and actually I think it's a bit prettier now. It's got all the scars on it. But this is my Ashton Viper 30 all-valve guitar combo. This is from the Australian company Ashton. If you don't know who they are, I'll leave a link in the description. This is a range of amps they brought out about 10 years ago or so. This is the 30 watt combo. They did a 50 watt combo. They did a 50 watt head, 100 watt head, I think, as well. And they also then did the Blue Tongue, which was basically this amp, but a bit prettier because this is a bit of an ugly duckling that never grew into a swan, ever. But despite its looks, it is a really, really good amp. It's a 2-channel. You've got a distortion channel, you've got a clean channel. It's got 2 power valves, 2 EL34s, 4 preamp tubes. This one is very old. It doesn't have the original tubes. When they were new, they came with a full set of electro harmonics. This still has the 2. I don't know if they're the original ones or not, they might be. Original power valves, the electro harmonics, but recently the preamp tubes have all been changed for groove tubes. It comes with a Celesion 7080 speaker. This one doesn't have that in it. I'll explain that in a minute. And it has an optional foot switch as well if you want to change between the channels. There, I've opened up the back of it there. At the current moment, it has a Celesion... Ooh, what is that? A G12L 4-ohm speaker instead of the 7080 8-ohm speaker. There's the valves there, the 2 electro-harmonic power valves. I've put groove tubes in it recently. This one, like I say, has been all over the place. It is built like a tank, this amp. I've gigged this and gigged this and gigged it some more. Toured it. This is why it's all covered in scars. At one point, the power socket broke and my amp tech just hardwired a cable in there. I think it was just to get through a tour, but it's been like that ever since. I've disconnected the speaker cable from the actual main board so that I could plug this 4-ohm straight into the speaker out. There's 2 speaker outs, one 4-ohm, one 8-ohm, so then I can use that a lot easier. Has an effects loop as well and an effects loop level. Like I said before, it's a 2-channel amp. You've got a channel switch there, and you've got the clean channel, and then you've got a mean channel. Clean and mean. I suppose that's a little bit of Australian humour, but it means clean and distortion or gain or whatever. The original amp also came with chrome knobs. Now what I found with this was on a dark stage with poor lighting you could not see what the settings were because they were just standard chrome knobs with a little tiny black line on, like a Mesa Boogie sort of thing. It was a nightmare. So I changed them for the cooker knob type. I think they're called cooker knob types, are they? Yeah, whatever. We'll call them those. Chicken knobs, no. Chicken beaks. I don't know. Whatever. It has a spring reverb tank down there. It's quite a tight reverb. I quite like it. It's a plywood body, 18mm I think, or carcass. The Tolex is flimsy, which is why it's damaged, and the handle is flimsy. I've repaired this handle several times. It's relatively heavy. I don't know how heavy it is, but it's quite heavy for a small amp, but manageable. When I say manageable, I mean it goes into the boot of my sports car, so I'm happy with that. As you can tell from some of this video footage, it is a little bit hummy. It does hum away quite nicely, like purrs to itself, if you like, in all its own self-satisfaction. But I haven't had a valve amp that's been completely quiet ever, so it's not an issue. Now, despite the poor handle and the flimsy toelets, this thing is built like a tank. It has fallen off the stages, it's fallen over, it's falling out of the back of the van before, it's had beer spilled all over it, it's had rain all over it. It is an absolute beast. At 30 watts, it's loud enough for anything really. I've used it on big stages, big festival stages, as well as small pubs and stuff like that. It does actually sound quite decent at low volumes, which is quite rare for a valve amp. And the onboard distortion, or its own distortion, is okay. Usually amp distortion I'm not too fond of, but it's not too bad. What I mean is you could quite easily just get the channel switcher, foot switch, and just use it like that. Now, the situation with the speaker and why it's got a 4 ohm Carlsboro made by Celesion in there is because the original speaker that was in that is in this. And you can see a video of this amp now. And in this I've got a Celesion Vintage 30, so I can try it with each speaker and see what the difference is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rig up the original speaker. You've heard it with the Carlsboro speaker already, and then I'm going to try it with the Vintage 30 and see what we like the best. Unfortunately, they don't make these amps anymore. The story behind this one is, and why I've got it in the first place, is a long time ago, about 12 years or so, I was browsing eBay for an amp, something of this size, a 30 watt valve amp, something like that I can take on tour. And I was on eBay, this one came up, and it was a starting bid of £60. And nobody was bidding on it, and it had an hour left. And I was like, oh, okay. So I put a £100 maximum bid on. I thought, well, £100, it's got to be worth it for a valve amp. You know, if nothing else, the speaker and the valves are worth that. Took the dog for a walk, came back, and I won it for £60. And I thought, they're not going to send it to me. 3 days later, it turned up, brand spanking new, 60 quid delivered. I was over the moon. I had no idea what it was going to be like, and then as soon as I plugged it in and played, I was like, wow, it's a Blues Junior, literally. Of course, my other concern was, well, it's not going to last very long. It'll probably, you know, blow up after a few gigs or whatever. Here we are 12 years later, so. Okay, this is with the 8 ohm original speaker, the Celesion 7080. Yeah, I think they did a good job pairing that amp with that speaker. The clean is really nice, full bottom end, crystal on the top end, and the gain is it's just got more gain, more body. It's really, really nice with that speaker. So if I'm going to carry on using this amp, I'm going to probably put that speaker back in it. But let's try the Vintage 30. That'll be gain. The vintage 30 gives it a warmer tone. It seems to have more gain again. Maybe the speaker's more efficient. Don't know. The cleans were kind of a little bit muddier than the 7080. I preferred the distortion sound on the vintage 30, but the clean sound on the 7080. And as I'm using pedals in front of it anyway, I think the 7080 matches this guitar amp the best. I've got the cab anyway, so if I ever want to take the cab and use that instead, I can. One thing they did add to this as a feature is this middle is pullable. It's a mid boost. I think they called it a pull tone shift. There it is, pull tone shift. Let's check that out. So this is still with the vintage 30. Now with the tone shift, it's just at 12 o'clock. Pushed in. Out. Now let's see what that does to the the main channel. Pulled. Pushed in. And there you go, my Ashton Viper 30. If you can find one of these, I strongly recommend getting one. You can pick them up really cheap if you can find them. A friend of mine bought one recently, well not that recently, but a little while ago for I think it was about £100. It's a great workhorse, it's a great sounding amp. It takes the pedals really well as well. It's small, compact, it's ugly. If you can handle that. But that's fine with me. So that concludes this little demonstration. If you like this kind of video, then please do like, comment and subscribe. It helps me out in a big way. I will be putting the Celesion 7080 back into this, I feel, which then still frees up my cab to use with my other amp heads and stuff like that. And that's it really, not much more to say except peace. Till next time, cue the jingle. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you like my YouTube show, hit like and comment and get involved. If you dig my vibe, then hit subscribe and never miss an episode of my YouTube show. Peace. Till next time.